NFL, we got what you need. Hit the touchdown, I'm yelling, show me some TDs. Ayy, run that play from the running back to QB. Ain't talking about bikini, yelling, show me some TDs. Ayy, way more than a fantasy football podcast like you never seen. Check the stats, I'm only speaking facts. If I catch an L, we gotta run it back. Ayy, fantasy football, this what you need. Hit the touchdown, we yelling, show me some TDs. Let's go.
Welcome to episode 3 of Show Me Some TDs with a special guest, our brand new member of the league, Edwin, and his team, the Catalina Wine Mixing Team. What's good, my brother?
Hey, man, I appreciate you having me on here. As always, also appreciate you letting me into the league. I'm ready to make some work.
But let's get right into it, man. Week 1 started in the NFL, and it started off with the banger with the Chiefs and the Lions.
Man.
And you know what? I'm straight up. You can see the difference in that team without those two key players with Travis Kelce and Chris Jones.
100%.
I mean, and you look at their defense, I mean, I said something, I was like, you need to go get Chris Jones signed immediately. And they did. They made sure that he's signed. I think he's, with incentives, going to be making up to $19.5 million this season. I mean, he was talking about holding out to week 8. And you could see how bad that could have gone for those Chiefs if he's not playing.
He's just a difference maker, and sometimes you think about it, he bet on himself to, hold out for that week and get his contract, and it worked out in his favor, maybe not in the Chiefs' favor altogether, but man, you can definitely tell he's, one of the best interior defensive linemen in the league, and now he's getting paid like one.
Yeah, I mean, $19.5 million, I mean, you're doing something right. I mean, you're that fucking good, right? I mean, with the Lions, it was like 4 yards, 5 yards, and I was really disappointed because Jahmyr Gibbs didn't do really much. He got me 8 fantasy football points.
Sure.
Montgomery, did have the majority of the carries. I think that could change down the road, but when if it's not broken, don't fix it. And they just kept feeding him the ball.
I think that the one thing that people don't think about is Jahmyr Gibbs this is his first career game, right, in the NFL. He's a rookie coming off. I mean, he did awesome in college, and you could tell that he still had that home run ability when he would get in open space. I mean, the dude is just fast, and you can tell, I'm going to relate him to, and maybe a little bit biased from the Jacksonville Jaguar side, but like a Travis Etienne, when he gets in open space, it's done for.
See you later, right? And man, he fucking almost scored, dude. He was on that outside to the right, and you know what? He slipped. And I was like, damn, that was my touchdown. Yeah. I was really excited for it. Another awesome game that I liked. It wasn't even awesome, to be fair. This one was in Pittsburgh, and it was the 49ers. And the thing is, I'm a Seahawks fan, and I hate the fucking 49ers. Mm-hmm. But I really do think they have, and I've said this multiple times, one of the best rosters in the entire football league.
I was actually looking at the power rankings earlier today just to kind of get ready for today, and everybody had the Niners there. And of course you got, a top-notch running back in your offense. You got even Brandon Ayuk, who has been growing over the last few years. But the defense just takes it all the way every single time. And there's something to be said about an organization that can build a good defense.
It's funny, too, is like the defense is amazing. Mm-hmm. Fred Warner is the best linebacker in football, besides Micah Parsons, but I think he's more of an edge rusher, so I don't put them necessarily in the same category. But, I mean, he even had a dropped interception, bro. That was almost a pick 6. So that game could have got really out of hand. I mean, they ended up winning 30-7 in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
But he dropped the pick 6, dude, early in that game. They're top to bottom, just hands down, just an amazing football team. Even with Brock Purdy, he came out slinging, dude. He had 2 touchdowns?
2 touchdowns. And I'm going to be honest with you. I was a Brock Purdy hater at the end of last year just because, there's always something to like about an underdog coming up, Mr. Relevant and whatnot, and there's something to like about that. But I'm like, man, is Brock Purdy the real deal, And he came out and showed it this week. I mean, he didn't have any jitters. He was still solid. I think I saw a stat about first 6 career games with a touchdown or 2 touchdowns. I mean, that's just an insane stat in NFL history.
I hate Brock Purdy, and I have my own personal reasons. When he played at Iowa State, that team beat Oregon, of course.
Oh, wow.
And I forget what fucking bowl game it was, but I was pissed off. Fuck that guy. And then he plays for the 49ers. But you know what, dude? I mean, there's no, so far, he's not giving me any reason to doubt that he's going to be a starting quarterback in the NFL for a long time, especially with the team that's around him.
Man, and if you see him play, it's not like he's making, bad, passes or anything like that. He's on point. He's reading the defenses, and, with a player that has that type of an IQ, he's going to have a long career in the NFL for sure.
Yeah, no, I mean, I like him for fantasy football-wise. I mean, if you look at it, dude, like Aaron Rodgers getting hurt, if you need a streaming quarterback, some of those quarterbacks that you should be looking at is, first of all, Brock Purdy, because, again, he's on the best team you could possibly have.
Right.
But I don't know if you watched the Seahawks game at all. I mean, obviously I did. But Matthew Stafford looked like he's back, like Super Bowl form. I mean, he was slinging that ball, and on a defense that I thought was going to be much improved. Seattle's defensive line has always been trash. It's still going to be trash. Right. But their secondary, I thought, was going to be taking another step ahead. And you know what, dude? He torched them. I mean, he absolutely put them just on ice and put them just, I mean, put the work on them, man.
I didn't have the chance to watch the Seahawks game, you know, and I was actually looking forward to see if Van Jefferson was going to do anything on the offense with Matt Stafford. I was looking to see if Cam Akers was going to come up in that offense. You know, obviously me being, you know, a Laker fan and, you know, from the Portland Northwest, but I'm a Seahawk hater. And I don't mean that in any bad way. You know, it's just there's a lot of 12-mans around here, and a lot of my friends are 12-mans, and I'm just going to say this out right now. I'm a Jacksonville Jaguars fan. You know, been playing with them on Madden since 2005. It's something I've had to deal with over the years, and, you know, I've always been very competitive against the Seahawks, saying that the Jags will be better than one day.
You know, and that's one of the reasons, like, I honestly wanted you in our league. You know, again, you play fantasy football, you're a knowledgeable football player, but you bring a different aspect of being a Jaguar fan to our league.
Yeah.
You know, next year we're looking at expanding, and we have Raider fans and Steeler fans. I mean, when we started this league, it was all 12s. I mean, I think we had like one Denver Bronco fan back in the day, but I mean, it was all 12s, right? And so picking teams, drafting, every Seahawk was gone early, way earlier than they should have.
Oh, yeah.
And so, no, I mean, that's another aspect of why we wanted you in our league. And being a Jaguars fan, man, I mean, did you watch the Jaguar game at all? Because I'm going to be honest, I didn't think it was going to be that close. And, I mean, 31-20, 21 to the Colts with Anthony Richardson. Yikes.
You know, it was surprising to see that. I think Anthony Richardson is going to be a lot better than people had him touted early on. You know, I get it. You know, first-round quarterback, high expectations, you know, Florida quarterback running at that, you know, and there's a lot to be said about, you know, somebody that's run first versus pass, how people would say it. But I only got to watch a little bit of the Jags game. I was doing a 3-on-3 tournament this weekend. And so it was right at 10, right when the Jags were playing, but I had to get on my phone and stream it when I could. And, you know, it was a little bit too close to call. I was sweating a little bit for
that. Yeah, I mean, you definitely don't want to open up. I mean, because you guys have high expectations. Honestly, it's playoffs or bust. Yeah. I mean, straight up. Like, if you guys are not in the playoffs, you guys have, you know, I think a really, really good chance, especially the division you're in. Mm-hmm. And Trevor Lawrence is turning into the quarterback that everyone believed that he's going to be. But, yeah, the Colts, look, Anthony Richardson, I still don't think is a very good quarterback. I really don't. Really? But he runs the football. Fantasy football-wise, he's excellent. Like, people that have him on their bench, I mean, he's scoring I think he had 2 touchdowns, 1 passing, 1 rushing. Mm-hmm. But you look at the value from rushing quarterbacks like Jalen Hurts last year, who had 9 rushing touchdowns or 10 rushing touchdowns. Mm-hmm. You look at those types of quarterbacks, that's where his value is going to be. And ultimately, he didn't have to pass a whole bunch, and it was still a close game, but you can tell, you know, rookie tendencies, things like that, kind of got the best of him, and, you know, we'll see how he develops down the future.
I agree. It's definitely a player to keep an eye on. I mean, his first touchdown of his career was a rushing touchdown, right?
It was nice.
You already knew it, and they had a couple good quarterback draw plays that, you know, you have to watch out. You know, I'm not a big fan of the Colts offensive line altogether, but they did their thing for him.
Yeah, I mean, him rushing wise, again, is just going to bring a different aspect to what the Colts have never really had. Mm-hmm. Yeah. If it comes down to it, though, like if he has to pass himself back into the game, I think that's where he's really going to struggle. You know, going down the road.
Yeah, I mean, and not to mention that it helps having a Michael Pittman there. I think he was 8 receptions out of 11 targets for him. You know, mm-hmm. When you got a guy that's that tall that can, you know, be that's your wide receiver 1 and can be relevant in fantasy, why not?
Yep. So the other game was obviously the game of the week, which was the Dolphins and the Chargers. Tough loss for Justin fucking Herbert, man. Of course, I'm a Bolts up, baby. Justin Herbert, you know, I'm a Seahawks fan, and that's my next favorite team, Justin Herbert. But Tyreek Hill, which is going to kind of lead into our next segment, but Tyreek Hill, Tua, I mean, they did their damn thing. They did the damn thing, dude.
It's insane to see it. You know, there was a lot of Tua haters last year, you know, and I get it, especially going into concussion protocol, you know, towards the end of the year. It's tough, but, man, this guy's betting on himself and is making it work as well.
Yeah, I hope he stays healthy. I mean, I really do, because, like, the dude is super humble, a guy that, I'm going to reference this shit a lot, a guy that the Oregon Ducks missed out on. He wanted to come to Oregon, and we didn't fucking recruit him. And it sucks, but I hope he does well. I hope he stays healthy because that team's fucking fun to watch, dude. That last 2-minute drive that they put together to hit Tyreek to win the game was impressive, man. And he's got some skills at the quarterback position. That's why he was able to do that.
I would agree. And, one of his biggest, I think that people are looking down on him, or his biggest downfalls are his arm, But when you got somebody like Tyreek Hill and you got Jalen Waddle, coming down the middle of the field, you don't have to have a super strong arm.
You don't got to throw it far.
Not at all.
You don't. Not really.
Let them do the work with their legs.
And you know what, man? And we're going to get into it in just a second, but the Cowboys and the Giants, Sunday Night Football, all eyes on you. And fucking Daniel Dimes did not fucking throw one goddamn dime that whole game. 40-0.
Yeah.
Yikes.
That's a feat, and I'm going to be real honest with you. I have a couple of friends that are big Giants fans.
I got a couple, yeah.
I was texting them throughout the games like, man, you paid Danny Dimes this much? Really? And granted, it's still early in the season. It's a long season to go, and, he can be a good quarterback in spurts, but I think this year they really need to see some consistency, especially with $25 million a year plus.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the fucking money because, look, dude, you're getting paid that much money. You can't lose 40-0 at home with a division rival. Yes, Dallas is good. We get that. Right. Defense is impeccable. I mean, they're amazing defensively, but you can't do that at home, especially when they give you that contract, especially when they spend more money to sign Saquon. They've put in money into their offensive line. They put in draft capital.
Right.
They have two, which I thought were going to be really good tackles.
Yeah.
Evans and Thomas.
Man.
Or is it Neal? Yeah, yep. Evan Neal. Yeah, and Thomas on the left side. I thought they were going to be much better. And you know what, dude? Dallas had the most successful pass rush rate out of everyone in the NFL. And I was like, out of nowhere for me. I mean, obviously, right. Micah Parsons, but I didn't see 40-0.
He's just a different monster. And I agree with you. I was big on Evan Neal coming out because I thought the Jaguars were going to go after him last year. And I would have been okay with them going over with an offensive tackle. I'm glad they didn't at this point, right? And I think that I saw right before coming in here that Micah Parsons was, kind of down-talking why they would let Daniel Jones be in that whole game while they're getting smacked out with that offensive line. I mean, you got to protect your quarterback, and that's just plain and simple.
Yeah, I get, well, you paid him that much fucking money, and what, is he going to dig you out of that hole? No, man. Get somebody else reps. Just protect your quarterback. Protect your investment, The last game of the week, unfortunately, it did not go the way anyone wanted to, with Aaron Rodgers getting hurt on the fourth play of the game.
Man.
Now, it's funny because I said something in my weekly pick'ems last week, that Rodgers is playing behind the worst offensive line he's ever had to play with. And, unfortunately, boom, fourth play of the game, and he had gotten hit once or twice already, right. Just in 4 plays. And you know what? That season, it's a wrap. So he's not coming back. You have, I don't know if they're going to go get a new quarterback or let it ride with Zach Wilson. But at this point, I don't know what you do. I think you have to kind of, no NFL team is going to go full tank mode like I keep referencing. But, goddamn, dude, you lost your one key that people were getting you into the playoffs. You can make a championship run with Aaron Rodgers.
Man.
And it's depleted with Zach Wilson.
Well, that's the thing is Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers, right? I think everybody knows that at this point. But that's a 39-year-old Aaron Rodgers coming now with an Achilles injury, season ending. What's it going to look like next year, Mark? Is he going to retire? Is he going to keep playing? At this point, do you take down that route where you ride it out with Zach Wilson, which I'm going to be honest, I don't have full confidence in. He has a couple spurts here and there, but you could see it early on in that game that he still didn't have it, thinking going into his third year now, right? It's insane to see, and maybe they go and tank for Caleb Williams. Who knows?
And let's be honest, Zach Wilson was fucking kicking it, and he's like checking out the MILFs in the stands. He was like, MILF, 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 and then all of a sudden they're like, you got to get in the ball game, son. And he's like, whoa, fuck, I wasn't ready for that. We thought we had Aaron Rodgers. What happened? And you know what? I don't think it's. I have just no confidence in him. Sorry, I've seen him play. I've seen him again. I watch a lot of college football. Right. He really wasn't that good in college, to be fair. And he played for a BYU team that was on a lower level. Mm-hmm. Technically they're a Power 5 team, but they're in a shittier division. But not real confident in Zach Wilson.
Not to mention, again, with one of the worst offensive lines probably in the NFL. You're talking even with the team that has Mekhi Becton, right? Who is
a giant
offensive lineman, right?
He's a giant.
Come on. You got Zach Wilson, who has some running ability. You got Garrett Wilson on the outside, who's going to do it for you, but you got to get it to him, and that's the main point.
Yeah, and I mean, shortly after he came into the ball game, Breece Hall broke off like an 83-yard run.
I thought he had a touchdown on that one.
I thought he just ran out of gas.
Right.
Just fucking ran out of gas, man. I mean, that's the only chance. Look, their defense is really good.
Yeah.
So if they can run the ball and play defense, look, if they can score 17 points a game on the offense, they actually have a chance to win some ball games.
Right.
But you have Zach Wilson as your quarterback, and I don't think that's really a feat that they can accomplish. So, here nor there with that. But Anyway, week 1 was fun. It was really sloppy, dude. Lots of turnovers, lots of fucking mistakes. I mean, and injuries were crazy. I mean, I think there was like 6 people that had hamstring injuries.
Man.
I mean, it was absolutely bonkers, bro.
I took some notes actually just looking over the scoreboard for the last week with fantasy and just going down the line. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 with hamstring injuries. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 17 altogether with key injuries to key players. I'm talking, Travis Kelce, obviously, J.K. Dobbins coming out for the year. Breece Hall had a new knee thing going on, but I think he'll be okay. Just all around key players. Austin Eckler with an ankle injury. Greg Dulcich, hamstring injury as well. It's crazy to see.
And, I'm just saying, I don't know, like, go watch last week, man. Go fucking stretch out your hammies, dude. I mean, you had, 5 players? 7 players, right?
7 players.
7 players. And these are valuable fantasy football players, man. I mean, Cooper Kupp is on the IR. Aaron Jones is hurt. Deontay Johnson, who I have on my team, is hurt. Thank God I got George Pickens as someone that I can slot in, and he should have an uptick in targets. But, I mean, there was a lot of key players with hamstring injuries.
Man.
It's weird. The theme of the week was hamstrings. It was bizarre to me, dude.
And you hate to see it in week 1, especially to such key players. You said it yourself: Aaron Jones, Cooper Kupp, Darren Waller, Deontay Johnson, Jerry Jeudy. I mean, it just goes down the line, right?
Insane.
It's crazy to see.
Well, let's get into our Show Me Some TDs Player of the Week. This is the player, team, whoever did the best, who showed me some TDs this week. And I'm going to start it off because this one actually shouldn't be, it's probably not who you're guessing, but it's the Dallas Cowboy defense.
Man.
2 touchdowns, 7 sacks, a blocked field goal. I mean, or was it? I think it was a field goal. I think it was a field goal, not a punt. That was returned. I mean, that's insane. 37 points from your defense. I mean, you know what? Not a Cowboys fan, but 37 points. For me, you guys were the Show Me Some TDs Player of the Week with your defense. And like, hey, good for you, fucking Cade. You didn't even need them to beat Chris because Chris's team had the lowest points in Show Me Some TD Fantasy Football League history with 53 points.
Yep.
I mean, the defense almost scored that by themselves, man. Who was your number one player? Who was your one person or anyone that jumped out to you? Who's your Show Me Some TDs Player of the Week?
No, well, I'm going to go with somebody that you guys probably can guess, and I'm going to go with Tyreek Hill. I mean, a guy just from the jump already talked about going for 2K yards. And, at first 2K yards is a big jump, right? But then you look at it, 11 receptions on 15 targets, 215 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, if you're going for 200 yards plus on average, that 2K is not far away.
No. I mean, goddamn, dude. Excellent game. And it's not that, like, these are deep bombs, dude. He's taking the ball and then getting yards after the catch, like you mentioned, dude. I mean, he's so fast. He's the cheetah for a reason.
100%.
And you know what? I mean, he can carry that and fucking get 2,000 yards. I mean, I hope he does. I want to see it happen. I truly do want to see it happen.
I do too, and I think that it will happen. I mean, you have a player like that that's the confidence is sky high. I mean, he said it at post game. I don't think anybody can guard him, and that's true. I think he's right up there with that. It's going to be tough.
And then on the other end, you have Jalen Waddle, who is fast as fuck as well, dude. Yeah. I mean, that team can really do some fucking damage this year. I'm excited to see if they can stay healthy. Who knows if Mostard is the answer at running back. He did okay. I think he got like 10 points fantasy wise. He did get one. He did have a touchdown sitting on my bench. So we'll see. And I got some players like Austin Eckler's hurt right now, so he has an ankle injury. We'll see how that goes. Right. Hopefully they just shoot him up and he plays. My bad, whatever. But I need him. He's my number 1 pick, and I hope he does. But I do feel kind of comfortable with Mostert because he's getting the looks at the running back position with Miami. Yeah. So we'll see how that shit goes, but. Now we're going to go ahead and get to the do better player of the week. For me, this is like, dude, do better. You didn't show up. You didn't put out. I mean, you just, fucking do better. And for me, I was hyping him up. He was my top 5 quarterbacks, I believe. It was Joe And you know what? He ended up going, Joe, just absolute fell on his face with 3 fantasy football points. That was an ugly fucking game. I did not see that coming. Even with the improved team with the Cleveland Browns, I really like the Bengals are a Super Bowl contender, and you know what? They just did not show up. The whole team.
I think it goes to show that, first of all, we're in the NFL, right? So any team in the NFL has a chance to beat the other team.
Any given Sunday.
Any given Sunday. And it doesn't help when you got, one of your top players that is calling out the other team and calling them the Elves. Myles Garrett didn't take too kindly to that, and he showed it on the field that day.
Yeah. Who's their other pass rush? Zadarius Smith?
Yeah.
What a wicked combination they have on defensive ends, man. I mean, that's going to be a problem for quarterbacks all season long, man. Now, did you have one player that you just want that was your do better player of the week? Do fucking better.
I think not just myself, but I think a lot of people wanted Josh Allen to just do better this week. Granted, okay, yeah, you played a great defense for the Jets. I get that. But you got to just do a little bit better. He still was connecting with Stephon Diggs. I mean, came out with 236 yards, 29 for 41, 29 passes made, 41 attempts, 9.04 points in fantasy, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions, 2 fumbles, 1 lost, 1 recovered. I mean, it's just tough to win a game when you have that many takeaways.
And he was, I think, one of my top 5 quarterbacks. But I did mention, and Cade mentioned on the show before,
right,
that he turns the ball over. I think in the last 19 games, like going back to all the way to last season, playoffs and things like that, he has 38 turnovers, interceptions, fumbles, things like that. I mean, that dude really just can't hold on to the ball. And I'm going to be honest, I'm glad he's the do-better player of the week for me because I was playing against him. Yep. If he didn't throw that last pick, I probably would have. I would have lost. I would have lost. So he threw that last pick. Doesn't get back on the field, and you know what? I end up winning in week 1. So I mean, whatever. Thanks, Josh Allen. Thanks for being yourself, dude.
Yeah. And he's my do better player of the week, but I also do think that he is going to do better as the season continues. I mean, you think about it. The reason why he has high takeaways, and I know Cade got a lot of backlash for it, and I'm here to support him a little bit, is because he's aggressive, right? And that's what you want from a top 5 quarterback. You don't want someone playing it, safe every time, doing 5, 10-yard passes here. You want someone that's going to throw a bomb for 30 yards. And, he overthrew one of his receivers on a down, and he got a pick on that. But imagine if he hit him right on the spot. That's a touchdown any day.
Yeah. Yep. So, the last week I dropped my pick'em, so I actually only put it in our Facebook page, so you guys can go check that out. But this shows in the Show Me Some TDs League what matchups and who I thought was going to win. And you know what? I went 3 out of 5. I got 3 correct picks, 2 losses. And you know what? The villain, the fucking villain, dude. He won the goddamn Super Bowl by winning this week. Look, they're kind of rivals. The villain, Taco. I mean, they talk shit to each other on the group chat all day. It doesn't stop. And the villain wins. And I didn't have him winning. But Christian McCaffrey, he made the right choice at the number 3 pick, and he got the dub. Good for the villain, dude. Yeah. Fuck that guy.
I agree. There was definitely a lot of smack talk going on in the group chat. And the one thing that you want to do with smack talk is you want to back it up. And he backed it up this week. And I got to give it to him, man. I mean, he has Christian McCaffrey, right? You got Josh Jacobs, Jalen Waddle. A lot of his team actually didn't do too great. A couple in the 10s. But Deshaun Watson came out and did his thing. I guess he got a massage last week, right before the game.
He did. He got the happy ending, and he did his job. I mean, 20 points. I mean, he didn't have 20 fantasy football points all last season or any game that he played last season. So he balled out. But the next matchup that I had was between, and this one I did get right, was the Redeem team and the Chubby Chasers. I mean, again, he had Tyreek Hill just go off. And you know what? The Philadelphia Eagles defense had, like 13 points. I mean, if you're getting double digits from your defense, that's a good sign. The Chubby Chasers, they just fell short. Their leading player is the Jets, and they had 21 points on defense. But you know what? They just came up short. It was only a 4-point game. It was close, but the Redeem team got the win. Kind of happy he did. But I mean, goddamn, dude, these guys win one fucking week, and they're like, "Yep, I'll see you at the championship, baby." Right. Like, come on, man. In the next game, look, unfortunately, I did pick you because I like your receiving core better than I liked the Vikings, Daniel's team.
Yeah.
But he fucking blew you out, dude. 150 to 88. He absolutely just blew you out of the water.
And I'm not going to lie to you. First of all, I'm going to say that you're the reason why I lost, because you picked me, right? You gave me bad juju picking me. I would love to have won. But I think that the Vikings just had everything going right for him, right? Going from the top down, you have Trevor Lawrence hitting you with 17 points. Bijan Robinson, 20 points. He did a lot of work in that Atlanta game. Tony Pollard, 22 points fantasy. Calvin Ridley, man, glad to see it for him. Obviously, being a Jags fan, super stoked to have Calvin Ridley coming into play. I know it's been a few years, as long as he can stop the gambling and kind of just gamble on himself on the field, then I think that we'll be okay. But 24 points for him. Devontae Smith, 17.7 points. And then again, you just said it a second ago, if you have a defense that's hitting 10-plus points, he had Baltimore with 11. Not to mention the kicker for the Philadelphia Eagles, getting him 18. He just... down the line had me. I mean,
and he was the top scorer of the week. 150 points in a standard PPR league. It's pretty solid. Great way to start your season. Now, the next matchup that I had was Cade's team, the G. Wilson Army versus the Goobacks. And you know what? The Goobacks had the lowest point total in Show Me Some TDs fantasy football history with 53 points. That doesn't help. But again, he had Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, Aaron Jones, and then, of course, Dallas' defense. So, I mean, if you looked at Chris's team, dude, it was absolutely depleted. He had nothing. His top scorer was fucking TJ Hawkinson, the tight end.
Man.
Who I think was, probably the number one tight end of the week with 11.5 points.
Right. Insane.
I mean, if that's your best player and that's, what you're depending on, you're not going to win. You're not going to do very good. He needs to make some fucking moves quick you can't sit back until week 4 and wait till Cooper Kupp arrives, and then who knows? I mean, even if he comes back, I mean, we'll see. So
that's the thing is, your do better player of the game or the game or the week here was Joe Burrow, and I think that Chris could have said the same thing. 3.18 fantasy points for him. That's not going to help you win any fantasy matchups or anything like that. There's a reason why he went 53 points for this for the week. I'm sorry, Chris, man.
Yeah,
hard to see it.
Yeah, I mean, he's got he's got T. Higgins. Who did nothing. He got absolutely no points.
No receptions, no yards.
And then he had the Seahawks defense that had 1 point, So, you know what? I mean, bottom line is his team was not very good that week, and he has to make some moves. He's got some good pieces, but he has to put that shit together because otherwise it's going to be a long season for him. So the last matchup, of course, was between myself and the Chalupa Batman, and I won by 2 points. And again, if Josh Allen does not throw that interception, I lose that week. So I start off 1-0, my fault. But you know what? Dallas Goedert, my tight end. I mean, my team name that I changed it to is Goddard Hurts to be this good. Scored 0 points.
Yeah.
Fucking ouch. So that's something I'm looking at waiver wire wise because, again, it's a stack with Jalen Hurts, but Jalen Hurts only had 12 points, man. I know the New England team is pretty good, but you know what? Do better. I mean, I truly feel like that can be applied to the Eagles. I mean, A.J. Brown had, I don't know, 14 points maybe. I mean, yeah. I mean, but that just comes off sheer volume, so.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing about the Eagles is you already know that they have chemistry between their, 3 playmakers with Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. So they will do better. They're missing Miles Sanders there a little bit, but I think that, the next game is probably going to be better for them for sure.
Yeah, well, and they play on Thursday night, so they better get their shit together quick because I got that fucking stack for a reason and I need it to pan out.
Yeah.
So now this is my favorite part of any episode that we do because it's all fantasy football and this is what the whole thing is about. 100%. But we're going to do our pick'ems. So this first matchup, and it's going to be right here on the board, it's going to be my team, Goddard Hurts to be this good against the villain. And I'm going to be honest, the villain, again, JB's team, this is the best team he's ever assembled. He's honestly, we kind of give him shit because he's had the worst place or the Sacco Award for the last place, in the regular season 3 times.
Man.
So he's kind of that dude. And that's why he changed his name to the villain because he came ready. He did his fucking research and he's ready to go. I mean, if you look at his team, it's led by CMC. And then he's got Josh Jacobs, who didn't do very good last week, and they do play Buffalo. But he's got Keenan Allen, Jalen Waddle, DeAndre Hopkins, who didn't do much, but they played against the Chargers. So I think it's a good matchup there. My team, again, Austin Eckler's hurt, so that's going to be something I got to address. I have to address. Jahmyr Gibbs plays against Seattle, so I do think he's going to score more than 8 points. I think he's going to hit that double-digit mark. And you know what? Dallas Goedert is going to get more than 0 points. I truly believe that.
I hope so.
And look, again, I'm a good guy. I'm not going to pick the villain. So, of course, I'm going to go ahead and pick myself in this matchup, even though it kind of looks like the advantage-wise, it's going towards the villain.
Man, I mean, if you're into projections at all, which we all know that projections go left or right, they got you 50-50 down the middle right now, which is kind of a tough projection. I mean, you're right. He definitely did his research, or must have before the draft, and I'm not going to lie to you. I'm surprised that he did this well. He was a little sauced when we'd had our draft, and I wasn't sure if he was going to be ready to go, but, he sat in the corner for a little bit, making sure that he was picking his correct players, and I got to give it to him, man.
He had to sober up for a second, just, who am I drafting here? I mean, to be honest, everyone was kind of at the draft.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I was. Literally, I had to thank you the next day. We're like, bro, if you didn't tell me, hey, it's your fucking pick, man. You got to pick somebody. And it was like 15 seconds left. And I was like, oh, okay. Boop. And then just pick. You saved my life a little bit.
Well, and you
just
still didn't pick bad. When you had 15 seconds left, you made it work. Yeah, I mean, you picked up some good players in those short spans of times that you had. I got to give it to you, man. You're ready to go with football now.
All right, who you got, man? Me or the villain?
I'm going to be right there with you, and I'm going to go with you. Obviously the villain is the villain for a reason, and I just really hope for your sake that you don't lose this one, because there's going to be a whole lot of shit talk in the group chat, and I might join in with him.
Shame. It's going to be shameful. But I mean, you know what? It's one thing to lose to the villain, but I mean, honestly, he has a really good team. So it's going to come down to it sounds silly, but who's going to play better? Mm-hmm. He does have Deshaun Watson at Pittsburgh, so I think Pittsburgh will bounce back.
And
I fucking, dude, I hope Fly Eagles fly. I hope Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, and goddamn Dallas Goedert does something this week, man. So let's take a look at this next matchup between the Viking Daniel and the Gooback. Look, the Gooback, and I'm going to be honest, he has the waiver wire priority, right? So he's going to get Puka Nacua. I mean, that guy had 15 targets and 10 catches and 119 yards.
Insane.
Filling in for Cooper Kupp. So that's something he needs to go get. I mean, you just need to do that. I think that's a no-brainer for him. Off the waiver wire, that should be everyone's number one priority. I mean, at least for the next 3 weeks, he's going to put up those type of numbers. There's no reason why you doubt that he should.
Yeah, I mean, when you have a rookie that's a super late round pick, right? I think he was fifth or not, if not later than that, and you're getting good chemistry with Matt Stafford right off the bat. I mean, why not pick him, right? You don't have a true wide receiver one in Van Jefferson.
Yeah.
You got Tutu Atwell, so why not pick up Puka Nacua? I mean, I almost picked him up until you said that Chris had the first priority. Then I was like, well, man, I ain't getting him there for sure.
Well, you know what? I'm still going to put that in there just in case. Mm-hmm. Look, I'm not very high in the waiver wire order, but I mean, if there's a chance that Puka's there, man, and I mean, he played so good. He was all over that field making tons of catches. And there was a couple catches where he actually dropped or got hit during the catch. So he could have had a bigger game potentially.
Yeah.
And who do they play? Let's see. I don't know. The Rams play somebody. But nonetheless, I think he's going to have great volume, great opportunities. Matt Stafford is looking right. But if you look at the Vikings team, Daniel's team, dude, with Bijan Robinson, he is who we thought he was. He's doing his damn thing. And then Tony Pollard, I mean, and then Calvin Ridley and Devontae Smith. I mean, he's got a solid team. Trevor Lawrence plays at Kansas City, so that could be a high-scoring game, and that's going to benefit, those people that have Lawrence and Ridley. What a stack on his team.
It's going to be a good game altogether. Kansas City gets, Chris Jones back, so it's going to be tough for Trevor Lawrence for sure in the trenches. I want to say I was looking at the injury report, and there's something going on with Brandon Scherf, our right guard. So, we might have a backup in there if he's not healthy enough to go by Sunday, and that's going to be tough on him for sure. But I think, again, Trevor Lawrence, Calvin Ridley had instant chemistry in this last weekend. I still think Calvin Ridley goes for a touchdown at the very least. Again, you have the Eagles flocking back, right? And they're playing Thursday against Minnesota. You got Devontae Smith opposite of A.J. Brown. He might get some points there for sure. And if Gooback doesn't, have Joe, doing his thing, it might be another rough week for him.
Yeah. I mean, star power. Bijan, Pollard, Ridley, Smith compared to Saquon, Dameon Pierce, T. Higgins, and then question mark at receiver. Yeah. So, unfortunately, until Gooback and Chris can get their shit together, he's actually projected to win, which who the fuck makes these? I mean, sometimes it just doesn't make any sense. Did you not watch the same thing I watched? Because it doesn't make no goddamn sense.
It doesn't.
It's only by 0.6 points. But I'm gonna be honest. I think the Viking Daniel's gonna win this one.
And I'm right there with you. I hate to say it because I know he beat me last year, and I gotta give him his props. Or not last year, but last week, gotta give him his props. I was not ready for that. I thought I was gonna come out on top of my wide receiver core. But again, when you have Bijan Robinson doing his thing, still with Tyler Algier, still getting a touchdown, right? You know, you talked about last week with Kate about how Tony Pollard can just be a rocket down. You know, he has that star power to keep going. In opposite, you know, with Guback, I think that there's positives that come with a stack, but there's also the negatives, right? Joe Burrow, T. Higgins didn't quite work for him last week. Let's see if it works for him this week.
So
I got the Viking going.
The Viking. Sounds good. Next matchup, man, should be a fun one. Battle between two losers last week. Chalupa Batman, the reigning champion James's team, and the Chubby Chasing team, man. So if you look at their squads, now this is not a closer. This actually. Chalupa Batman is actually projected to win by 8 points. But Josh Allen, again, you don't feel confident in him throwing 3 interceptions and having a fumble.
Right.
But he plays against the Las Vegas Raiders. So, that helps. Justin Herbert had a fine game, but they play in Tennessee, and Tennessee has a kind of a stout defense. So you look at their other players. Henry against the Chargers should actually feast on that one. He should go ham. And then Travis Etienne, I think he's going to get a lot of pass catching attempts. Mm-hmm. He's going to get the ball in the passing game against the Chiefs. So on the other side, Jamar Chase, and now they just made that trade. So there was actually a trade in the league, DK for Chris Olave, basically. Right. So now the Chubby Chasing team has one of my favorite 1-2 punches in receivers with Jamar Chase and then Chris Olave. So this one is kind of a toss-up for me, just because he's the reigning champ. I'm not going to pick him, so I'm going to go ahead and pick the Chubby Chasing team, man. So he's projected to lose, but come on, Justin Herbert, put out, baby.
Look,
show out, baby.
And I hate to mention this because I know that we're in the Show Me Some TDs fantasy football group now. You know, I am a 2-time reigning champ in another league. Granted, maybe not as competitive as this one. So there's got to be some love for the champion, but there's also that hate when you're not the champion, right? So I completely understand that. I got to give it to him, though. Team Chalupa Batman did a very good job drafting this team. I mean, he did old magazine style where he's checking on the players, in a book or in a magazine rather than going through projections on what you have on the app. And it did well for him. I mean, Josh Allen, again, yeah, he didn't do that great last week, but going against the Las Vegas Raiders team, he's going to do better, 100%. I know that they just picked up that cornerback. Can't think of his name right now off the top of my head. You know who I'm talking about. Played for the Ravens last year. He's known to be a hothead. I can't think of his name right now.
Can't think of his name either right now. I don't think I saw that actually, but no, I mean, do they get the running game going with James Cook? I mean, that makes a difference. And I mean, he had some good plays, but I don't know, man. I mean, they have Stephon Diggs, but man, I'm really losing confidence in Josh Allen. Like, as much as I used to believe in him, and I mean, he's won me a championship before. Like, I mean, shit, dude. But I mean, fuck, dude, he really does just turn that ball over a lot.
It's tough to see when you see it. You know, I have confidence that he will go up because in the same stack, you know, I had him and Stephon Diggs in a stack one year, and they definitely took me to the champions. I won't forget that ever. You got Derrick Henry, who's coming off of over 360 rushing attempts last year, and sometimes that could take a toll on your legs in the next year, but I think he's still going to do well against the Chargers. I mean, they had that question on social media about how many fifth graders could take out Derrick Henry, and it's way too many to count probably at that point. I think the Chargers are not going to have too much better of a chance to take him down either, so I think he's going to go off. You said a second ago, Travis Etienne, I was saying earlier, he has home run ability probably every time he gets into open space. He's just so shifty and so quick, it's hard not to see it. And then, we didn't mention him, but he has CeeDee Lamb, going against the Jets now.
Who I love, but he's going against the Jets.
100%.
So tough matchup there, but no, that one's going to be fun. Again, I'm going to go ahead and go with I'm going Chubby Chasers. And it looks like you got the Chalupa Batman team. Now, both of these dudes won. So his lineup is a little fucked up right now with Kate's team, the G. Wilson Army, because he doesn't have a quarterback right now, but he traded for Geno Smith. And I want to be honest, I'm not super confident in that. So he got a stack with Geno and DK now. Right. So he traded Chris Olave, but now that's his stack. But, dude, I mean, Geno Smith, the Seahawks offense had 12 total yards in the second half of that game. Like, there's nothing I'm a fucking Hawks fan, and I don't feel comfortable or confident in that shit. I mean, they play in Detroit. I mean, I said that I predicted the Seahawks were going to win, but after seeing that ass whooping, and that's how I felt it was to the Rams, I think the Seahawks are, they're going to be in some trouble going to Detroit and playing that Lions team that is vastly improved.
Yeah, I mean, you can't write off Aiden Hutchinson. I know that the Jags picked Trayvon Walker over him. I kind of wanted him to come to the Jags, and it's a big, little bit of a bet to see who gets better. But you can tell second year Aiden Hutchinson is just a different monster from last year. I mean, he was getting off the line so quick. He was getting to the quarterback, and that's what you want from your defense, right? It's going to be tough to see it for sure. I'm a big believer in Geno Smith, even not being a super big Hawks fan. I mean, he's a good player, high IQ guy, and when you got DK Metcalf, coming off the side, you're going to hit him for a long pass at one point, for sure.
The Redeem team looks good. G. Wilson, I mean, again, I don't know. Geno's your starting quarterback. He can get you 15, 20 points, and that's fine. I just don't think Geno's going to win you any weeks in fantasy football, if that makes it any more sense. He does have some question marks, though. Aaron Jones, hamstring.
Right.
In Atlanta, it's probably not, that's a decent matchup, but then he has also Travis Kelce. We don't know if he's going to play, and they play in Jacksonville. So, Nick, you son of a bitch, I'm going to go ahead and give this one to the Redeem team because his team's healthy. That's ultimately the deciding factor for me, and I'm going to go ahead and give the Redeem team the W. That's 2 weeks in a row that I picked you, Nick. Don't let me down, dog.
Man. Look, I know that you gave me some crap earlier, Nick, me being the new guy, a.k.a.
He was hating, bro.
Look,
he was hating.
Like I said, I'm going to be Rookie of the Year for a reason, and that's okay with me. I'm going to come up, but, Lamar Jackson didn't have the best time last week, but he's going to do better. I know it, against the Cincinnati Bengals defense as well. You have Tyreek Hill on your team. You can't count him out any given week. He's going to go for 15 plus points per game as far as fantasy is concerned. And I think you're right. Having a question mark at quarterback with the wide receiver stack. I mean, plain and simple, you need to get your quarterback to hit you with at least 15 to 17 points per game, or else you're not going to have a chance at winning.
You're not.
So with that question mark, I'm going with the Redeem team winning this matchup.
Smart guy. Smart fucking guy, man. Hey, you know what? You did mention that he's the 2-time champion of our bullshit work league, and, some people are probably going to get mad about that. But that shit's wild. But to be fair, I won in our work league, week 1 victory, so felt good. I'm coming for the crown in the work league. I'm coming for the crown in this league. It's been a while since I've won a championship here. It's 2019.
Yeah.
So it's been a while.
I'm sorry to say this, Steven, but I might get the chip before you do. I mean, I already got my belt in my closet hanging up. It's looking nice right next to my Lakers logo. It would be great to have another belt right there next to the other one. Yeah.
I hope you don't win. To be fair, I really hope you don't win because son of a bitch, I can't deal with you winning again. And that's one of the reasons you're in our league because I was like, he fucking won twice. He's pretty good. He knows how to play fantasy football. Right. So we don't let losers into our league. No. I mean, except for the villain, but he's grandfathered in. He's grandfathered in. So it's okay. I love you, buddy. Don't worry about it. The last matchup here is between you and Taco. Now, Taco, again, dude, I truly believe that he could have waited on Pat Mahomes. He could have picked him before Cade in the second round. But you know what? I mean, his team is still pretty good. Debo can have a good game. He needs to go figure out his tight end situation if Mark Andrews is not going to play because Isaiah likely had 1 catch for 4 yards and did not put up any fucking points.
Right.
And then your team, I mean, my favorite receiving combo with Justin Jefferson and Amon-Ra St. Brown. I mean, I'm the biggest Amon-Ra St. Brown fan. If you go watch some of our older videos,
sure.
Been a fan of him. Darren Waller, he should be able to feast against Arizona. So, ultimately, this one's close. Let's see what the projections look like. I mean, it's a 14-point difference. So they're actually picking your team to beat Taco. And you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and agree because it's a PPR league. You have a better receiving core. Taco has Stephon Diggs. You know what? I'd like to see him make a move. Like maybe, he's got Pat Mahomes.
Right.
So maybe go get yourself. If you got Stephon Diggs, maybe work something out for Josh Allen and build a stack. Because you think about a stack, dude, every touchdown they get, that's 10 points.
Yeah.
Regardless of receptions or yards, every touchdown, those combination score is 10 points. So I value stacks tremendously. So,
yeah.
And then even vice versa. He can go ahead and go get himself fucking Travis Kelce. Like, healthy Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
Maybe he can buy him on the low right now that he's hurt. Hey, bro, you ain't doing it. He's hurt. Let me get him. Man, it's a long season.
We'll clap your cheeks. If you have the chance, go get Travis Kelce.
Go get yourself Travis Kelce.
Now, your tight end is a big question mark. I get it. Mark Andrews is a great tight end. I'm a big fan of Mark Andrews, especially with Lamar Jackson there at quarterback, new offensive coordinator this year. So, Lamar Jackson has more command of the offense, but tight end question mark doesn't do well. You got Stephon Diggs, who I'm a big believer in. Again, we said it earlier today, 5 straight years with 1,000 rushing yards, or I think it was last week that you guys said that, or 1,000 catching yards, receiving yards.
Yep.
So you can't beat that, And I'm not going to lie, I'm a big Pat Mahomes fan. I think that he can get you a win, even if you have some question marks at other positions in fantasy. But, I'm not going to lie. Again, a little bit of Jacksonville bias. We got, I feel, a better defense this year than last year. I know that there's a lot of people that don't think that, but if we can get off the edge a little bit quicker, and hopefully Travis Kelce isn't healthy for this matchup, we might be able to get a couple takeaways for Pat Mahomes. I'm going to pick myself, of course. I'm not going to pick Will Clap Your Cheeks because I don't want him clapping my cheeks at all. The Carolina Wine Mixin is going to be the team to go this week. Justin Fields, I hope he does better this week going against the Tampa Bay defense. I think he will. I had some question marks when I first picked Rachaad White for my running back. I got Joe Mixon opposite of that, but he had 17 touches last week. And I think that with a volume like that, he's going to, get what he needs.
I was high on White. I was high on White in going into the draft. Just because of volume. I think he absolutely should be able to get the volume. And you know what, Justin Fields, will you fucking please throw the ball to DJ Moore? Please throw the fucking ball to DJ Moore, man. 2 catches for 25 yards or some shit like that. And you just never give him the ball again.
Yeah.
Hit him with the screen. What happened to that shit, man? What happened to the screen passes? Nothing. He didn't get the fucking ball again, after the first quarter. It made me sick. It absolutely made me sick. So, you know what? Just because I want to play devil's advocate, I'm going to go ahead and pick Taco. Yeah. He is my brother, and it is you. So I'm going to be honest. You know what? Taco, you should go make a trade for Travis Kelce, because you could have, with our league, Travis Kelce as your tight end, and then go ahead and put fucking Mark Andrews at your flex. Whatever. If you need that kind of depth or whatever, you need that. He has Brandon Cooks, in his flex position right now. I don't really know how good he did, but Dallas's offense is, they can be explosive. Right. He didn't do shit. It looks like, not very much. But anyway,
you're gonna see an uptake as they go, though. Yeah. Of course.
Oh, fuck, you're up 40 to nothing. It was a blowout real quick. Right. So prioritizing the pass wasn't a big thing. So, but just to play devil's advocate, Taco's gonna win this one. We gotta pick against you, man. Sorry. Look, sorry, not sorry.
It's okay. I'm glad that you picked against me, because I know for sure that I'm gonna win this week without you jinxing me. But again, I'm gonna go back to what you said a second ago. You're the reason why I picked Amon St. Brown, 100%. I knew that he did well last year. There's a couple matchups I think in our other league that you had some big point totals with him on your team. Opposite of Justin Jefferson, good wide receiver core. I'm running with that every single day.
Anyway, man, thank you again for being on the show. Man. This was so fun. I'm happy you're in our league. You know what? Make sure you guys check us out. Go look at our Facebook page, our YouTube page. 100%. Make sure you subscribe. We do this for fun. Ultimately, my goal is to get your engagement. Yeah. I wanted to hear you talk shit. I do want to hear you say that I'm a genius when it comes to football. But I want to hear what you guys think. That's ultimately what I'm trying to get out of this. I get to talk sports with my friends, but I want to hear from friends and family what you guys think about our predictions, our pick'ems, things like that, and follow along. Now, hopefully we make you laugh and we give you some decent football knowledge. Again, this is fantasy football for dummies that like to fucking party, you know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. You could have been anywhere in the world right now, but you're here with me, the commissioner of Show Me Some TDs, and our newest member, Edwin, the Catalina wine mixing team.
Yes, sir.
Hey, appreciate you, dog. 100%, man.
And this, just for this podcast, I'm going to have to do it one time. Duval.
Cut it.
Fantasy football, this what you need. Hit the touchdown. We yelling, show me some TDs.